Hey everybody, welcome back to the Bourbon Note. I'm Greg.
I'm Ben.
And today, we're listening to music and drinking bourbon.
Whiskey.
It's whiskey. All right, Ben, what do we got?
Okay, we have, bam, this is Blackened. It's a blend of straight whiskeys finished in black brandy casks.
Nice.
So this is a celebrity whiskey, if you will.
Yep.
This is from the band Metallica, which I'm a huge Metallica fan. So,
and this one, I heard something about where they actually blast it with like music, right?
Yeah.
Is that they're, instead of aging it and making it a real whiskey?
well, they age it. So here's what it is. It's a blend of different straight, so it's like there's some straight rye, some straight bourbon blended.
Okay.
And this is remastered, it says, by Dave Pickerel, who is the late, he was a master blender, and I can't remember what distillery. Is it Maker's Mark? I don't know. Anyway, this is before I got into to whiskey.
Yep.
So they take this, and to agitate the whiskey in the cask, you know how sometimes they say like, you know, manipulating the cask, like Jefferson's Ocean.
Yeah, on the
stuff
boat.
like that.
Yep.
They blast it with Metallica music to vibrate the cask, the idea being that the whiskey will interact more with the barrel.
Interesting.
You know, extra.
So a younger whiskey, but still you get the, you know,
It could be, I mean...
tastes great and less filling.
Wow, that's old school. That is really old school. So do you have the list? So each one of these batches comes with a playlist. So this is batch number 95.
Okay.
And so here's the playlist for other Metallica fans. It is For Whom the Bell Tolls, Here Comes Revenge, The Thing That Should Not Be, Fade to Black, Metal Militia, The Outlaw Torn, Through the Never, and Lords of Summer. So I don't know if they put that playlist on
It's got to be on a loop.
a loop and do this for a while.
If they only played it once, that would be kind of like underwhelming.
I mean, it is Metallica, you know, that can...
It's probably loud.
So anyway, let's get into the pour here.
You know, I gotta be honest, I'm not the world's biggest Metallica fan, so I think I'm gonna do a small pour.
That's not going to cut it down here.
You don't think so?
You're an honorary Metallica fan when you enter this basement.
All right, regular pour it is.
I actually maybe gave myself a thicker pour than I probably needed.
By the way, I'm kidding about the not being a Metallica fan.
He is, otherwise I wouldn't be doing this show with him. No, I'm not that hardcore about it, but I am a very, very big Metallica fan.
They're from Northern California.
Yep.
When you grow up in Northern California, they're like local hometown boys.
Sure. You know, that's definitely interesting. You and I had a pour of this once about a year ago, so this is essentially new for me anyway. I remember it being kind of different, but I don't really remember a whole lot about it. It definitely has that.
Maybe there's more rye or something in it.
I was gonna say it's got it's a bit rye forward.
And for those playing at home, sometimes rye comes across very different. And there's a big difference between a rye whiskey and a high rye bourbon. Those actually are fairly different, I think.
Well, they are, and we've talked about this, some high rye bourbons can come across, they have a flavor of a rye whiskey where they have like a noticeable actual rye.
Yeah.
And some of it is just where they have that rye influence.
Yeah.
You know, this one's got like that rye influence, but it definitely has some baking spices and some brown sugar around
It's really livening up after a few seconds in the glass.
Yeah, it's kind of
wake
bright.
up. Yeah,
it's a little light.
Yep.
The brandy cask, I'm not like a brandy aficionado, but you can definitely get like a finished vibe from this. So you know, whatever that does impart is there.
Sure. I would imagine sweeter, kind of like fruity.
Yeah, sweet and fruity. Yeah. All right, let's go in for the taste here.
Wow. If I were guessing, and I'm not because I just saw it be poured out of this bottle, this tastes to me like a cognac.
Really?
Which brandy is kind of sort of a cognac.
Well, cognac is a brandy,
exactly.
much like bourbon is a whiskey.
Yeah, same kind of thing. Yeah. Grapey notes.
A little bit. That rye is definitely noticeable.
But then there's the grassy kind of American whiskey kind of note. It's really nice. It's just, it's like a bourbon, but different.
I think it's very different. I'm definitely getting like some fruity notes, but then also that rye kind of pepper, you know, and maybe a little bit of that kind of clove influence from the rye.
Could be.
Kind of lightly underneath all that fruity. Like, I feel like it's a little different on the palate than it is on the nose.
I agree.
You getting that?
It's, well, it's really complex. There's a lot happening, lots of flavors. It's nice and well balanced, good flavors. They're just not flavors I typically drink. And so I'm thrown off a little bit.
I'm getting more bourbon on the nose. I'm not really getting much for bourbon notes on the palate. I feel like it's more, like I said, in the rye category, but definitely that barrel finish is noticeable. But me not being a huge brandy drinker, it's hard to really kind of, you know, separate that. I just know that it's a different flavor that's adding something.
I'm getting a ton of what I associate as like cognac / brandy flavoring, which is surprisingly close to a lot of whiskeys.
Cognac white grape. Is that a specific kind of grape that they have to use for cognac?
Yeah.
It's not the cognac note, but we did do a cognac review
We did,
once.
yeah. I have a bottle.
Just for the hell of it, so go check that out.
But this is so close to a lot of American whiskey. Well, this is an American whiskey. It's just with a little bit of grape influence. I really like it, but you're right, we had it a year ago, but I don't remember. I assume this was a lot more bourbon-y, and it's not.
See, the only thing I remember about it is that it was very different than what I was expecting, and I remember it not being as bourbon-y as I thought it was going to be. But this is a good whiskey. It's a little out of my kind of wheelhouse, you know?
Yep.
Like you said, it's not flavors you typically drink.
Right.
But this is a great, you know, it's a conversation.
Oh, absolutely. And if you're
whiskey.
if you're a fan of the band.
Sure.
Recently, I visited a liquor store, and
Me too.
They had a bottle of a similar one of these, but it was cask strength.
Yes, I saw that. And so I'm trying to picture this as we're doing this review because I was kind of on the fence about buying it. It's about $60. I think this one runs about 45, 50 or something like that. $60. So I actually kind of wanted to do this review of this bottle just as a refresher of how it tastes so I know if I want to go buy the cask strength. I'm interested in what the cask strength would be like.
So I have an idea. It's not going to be a perfect analog, and we've talked with some Patreons recently about comparing one whiskey to another, and it's not you can't really get, you know, that whiskey.
Yeah, sometimes it works and sometimes it's apples to oranges.
Yeah, so here's my thought. You know, you want to try that cask strength, but you're not sure if you want to pay the money. How about you drink this, and I kick you in the knee, and that should be really close.
Or hit me in the face with a shovel, you know?
I'm okay with that too.
Okay. I feel like I'd maybe just rather spend the $60.
It could be easier.
You know? But yeah, this is interesting. I think this is good, and I've said this about some other stuff too. Like, as a whiskey collector, this is a cool flavor profile. It's different than bourbon, so if you're really just specifically into the bourbon, this may not be for you. Maybe leaning a little more towards the rye, so maybe if you're a rye lover, this is kind of a different take on that.
Totally. And if you like cognac / brandy,
I think this is just a cool bottle of liquor to explore.
It is cool because it touches a whole bunch of different points on the map or whatever.
Yeah, this is unique in kind of its own little category here. So, and I attribute that to the Metallica music.
I would agree. Yeah,
that's the taste.
Well, Through the Never.
Was that on the?
It was.
Was Through the Never on there?
It had to be.
It's a great song.
It is.
So yeah, I would say this is definitely a good like a conversation whiskey. You know, for if you're a collector and you know, or like you said, if you're just a fan of the band, it's got a great bottle. I mean, it looks cool on the shelf. Even if you don't like it, you've got a $45 decoration.
I agree. So, all right, we're starting to run on. We should probably fade to black.
Nice. I like it. All right, well, this has been Blackened on the Bourbon Note. I'm Ben.
I'm Greg. Cheers.